I'm delighted to have you all here. And this just goes to show you guys are here and willing to learn and progress yourselves as dancers. So big well done for you guys even coming. What we're going to do first is, I'm going to introduce myself for people who don't know me. So, my name is Lauren Early. I'm a 6-time back-to-back world champion. So I dance for CLRG. I'm a 12-time back-to-back Ulster champion, All-Ireland champion, Great Britain, British Nationals, American Nationals. I've won every championship there is to win in CLRG. But it's not about me standing up here telling you everything I've won. It's about me letting you guys know my progression and what happened on my journey to actually get to where I needed to be. Because you need to think of it like this: if it was really, really easy, we'd all be world champions, right? So it was a big, massive journey and struggle for me to even get to the top. And today and tomorrow, with the training that you guys are going to be doing, you're going to see exactly what I was doing outside the dance class to make sure I was getting up to that #1 box. Now guys, don't get me wrong, everyone has their personal goals, okay? So your goal might be a recall, top 20, top 10, top 5, maybe even win, or the chance to actually even get up on stage. And that's fantastic because that's your personal goal. And once you hit that, you've achieved that, right? Okay, so you've achieved that thing that's so precious to you. So, like we said before, can I ask, who's the youngest we have? Let me see, so how old are you? You're 7. Anybody else lower than 7? How old are you? 6. Oh, amazing. So you'll be grand the next 2 days. So on our first workshop, our youngest was 6. And she will probably put all the older ones to shame. So who's the oldest that we have here? Okay, so up here. Okay, anybody in 20s? 20s, 21, 22?
23.
23?
23.
23. Okay, good. And then everyone else is a free fall in that range, yes? Okay, where's my teenagers? Hands up. Okay, good. Is everyone physically and mentally ready for this workshop?
Yeah.
No. You'll be fine. Okay, so guys, like I said at the very beginning, you chose to be here, right? Normally with our workshops, we do a lot of seminars, which is more theory work. So your brain is like, oh, what's going on? As well as obviously all the practical. But the main seminars were very serious training, like really serious training. Don't get me wrong, what I want to do this time of the summer camp is, yes, I wanted to make it fun, but I wanted serious training on top of that. So you're going to get a mixture of both. Okay, we'll probably laugh together, cry together, help each other out, okay, along the way. But what you will know is day 1 today is Robert's Day, and he will introduce himself and go through his story for today. And my day, the best day, is tomorrow. So at the very end, we can all see who preferred Robert's Day or my day. And at the very end of Camp 1, it was like, okay, so who was the best? And all the kids were like, Lauren! And I was like, yes. So 1 Lauren, 0 Robert. So yeah, guys, I'm really looking forward to it. And then again, for the younger kids, as in 6, 7, and so on, I'll give you more snack times. Older ones, you're trying to get a lunch break, that's it. Just suck it up, keep going. Again, we'll arrange for Robert, lunchtime is 12 to 1 today. Is that correct for everyone?
That probably is yes, but like maybe possible to 1.
Okay, so we'll take that big break at 12 anyway. Okay, so let's make you feel uncomfortable. Everybody stand up. Turns it all up. Okay, so I want you to high five a person you don't know in this room. Okay, sit down and relax. So guys, one of the main things when trying to get ahead and reach your goal is stepping out of your comfort zone. Like, even before I even done my first workshops or seminar, I hated speaking in a big group. I love speaking one-on-one and taking a small group of dancers for workshops, but standing in front of hundreds was like, oh my god. And now I don't even get nervous, I don't even think twice about it, and away it goes. So with you guys and confidence and how that grows, you do have to just feel uncomfortable, and then it gets easier from there. What I want you guys to take away from the workshop is to know exactly how to prepare mentally for competitions, and you're going to learn this over the next few days. So you have to, number one, believe in yourselves and understand that no matter what, you can achieve anything you want in life when you physically and mentally put yourself to it. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to now hand it over to Robert. He can introduce himself, take you through his day. Oh, what I also forgot was, Robert can be very serious. So now and again, if he cracks a joke, that'll be like, so let me see how serious he is today. Okay guys, I'll hand you over to Robert. Again, before I forget, any questions and answers and stuff like that, we'll try to keep towards the end of the workshop day, or any photos and so on. And Robert will be asking questions throughout, a part of what he'll be taking you through. Because don't forget, there may be people a bit more shy here that have a turnout issue, but we talk about turnout. It might help a dancer up here, if someone has straight feet, and so on. Okay? So remember, if you have questions, speak up.
Hi everyone. Lauren's Lan, by the way. Everybody said that my day was the best. So.
Yours, whose day was it? No competition.
Okay, so thanks everyone for coming. Out of all the parents that are here, how many are going to stay the entire time, or at least for this morning? Okay, good. Feel free to come and go when you want. As Lauren said, in the past we've pretty much done workshops where there's been a lot of theory and understanding. This time we try to do something a little bit different and make it more of a summer camp feel rather than a workshop. But that said, for anybody that knows anything about what we try to do, we're always trying to educate at the same time. So I've been allowed 1 hour where I can talk, and then after that I'm not really allowed to talk again. So the idea is that we're going to kick it off when people's minds are freshest. We're going to explain everything that we're doing and the reason behind everything that we're doing, and a little bit of theory and understanding about different things around dance, so that you can really then grasp when we go out and do the practical work later. There doesn't have to be a lot of talking or explaining, because it's so hard to explain when we're all standing in the middle of a track what we're actually doing. So we'll condense it all into 1 hour. We'll go through exactly what everything's about, and then from then on it's going to be a lot of practical work. Okay. So day 1 is fitness and day 2 is dance. Why we split them up is because for so many reasons really. But let's say, for example, okay, you're a dancer. We know there's a huge fitness component of being a dancer, but if you don't have the technical ability to dance, all the fitness in the world is not going to matter. So I'm going to go through a few different types of profiling of dancers today, and I want you to kind of understand what type of dancer you are, okay? So as I'm talking, you need to be relating all of this to yourself so that you can get the most out of the next few days. There's lots of different types of dancers. There's dancers that are fast, explosive and sharp, but will fatigue way too quickly on stage. There's dancers that are very pretty, very neat, very tidy, but they're not very exciting to watch. Yeah, they're practicing so much, there's no real explosive part. And then there's dancers that just don't have the basic technique nailed down yet. And so any fitness training that they do is going to be restricted. If I take a dancer who doesn't have the basics covered, and I make them super fast in terms of fitness, fast and sharp, it's not going to come out in their dance technique on stage because they're limited, their technique is already off. Okay, so it's like me making you super fast and then trying to get you to punch fast. You need to have that motor pattern ingrained in your brain. So if you don't have the basic technique, we're going to run into issues. So as we go through this, I just want you to think about who are you and how we can relate this camp to you. So first of all, let's go through kind of who I am really quickly. Has anybody been to any of our camps before? Was anybody here last year? at the camp? At any of the workshops? Okay, a couple. Okay, good. So most of this is going to be fresh to all of you. So who am I? Basically, I was Lauren's strength and conditioning coach for most of her world titles. I've trained lots of Olympic athletes. How Lauren came to meet me was she joined the sprint group. So her mum knew that she needed some fitness training. I was coaching a lot of sprinters and boxers, like for any of you from down here, you'll know Katie Taylor, the boxer, and so on. So I had this basic group of athletes that all needed speed and sharpness and power training for their sport. And Lauren's mum thankfully recognised that the sport was required those things, and Lauren came and joined our group. So Lauren was already training with a lot of athletes that were in different sports, but understood that there's one common denominator of them all, is that you all need to produce power and speed and sharpness, okay? So that's kind of how Lauren got ahead, and she was so far ahead of her sport and the people she was against for all those years, simply because she recognised that there's a little bit more to this than just dance technique. And when you have the dance technique, we can then run with the other areas. So let's go through what we're actually doing today. This changes so much depending on the group. So this is a general structure. We ended up changing this a lot last time, and we'll probably change it today too. Basically, the introduction is what Lauren was talking about. We're now going to go in and talk about a few things. What is fitness and how do we build a solid foundation? Then we're going to start some practical work, which is going to be a lot of motor learning skills. We're going to look at balance, stability, agility, and all those things, which all comes in there building a solid foundation. We're going to touch on core work. Again, we need to make sure we have a solid foundation. And then we're going to go on a quick lunch. Depending on how long that morning section takes will depend how long we have for lunch. But at 1 o'clock, we're all going to go across to the track, which is just across the street. And then we got our hard practical sessions to do, which is going to be at least 3 really hard sessions on the track. And they're all going to cover a different thing. Okay, one is going to be endurance and stamina, one is going to be speed endurance and lactic acid-based work, and the other one is going to be very sharp speed and power. So what you'll find out about yourself is that you're probably good at one, not the other one, you know, and then we can start profiling you a little bit better. And then we'll come back and we'll finish off the day with some flexibility and mobility, but that will probably change. Okay, so let's first of all talk about what is fitness. So we know that, let's say a marathon runner is fit, right? You know as a dancer you need to be fit, but what is fitness for a dancer, okay? We know that a marathon runner is fit, we know that a sprinter is extremely fit, but they're both two completely different types of fitness, okay? So where does that leave you? So as a dancer, you're coming in and you know that you need to be fit, but you're not really sure of the guidelines. So some of you are going for a longer run, some of you are training more like marathon runners, some of you are training more like sprinters, some of you don't really know what we're doing, and we're just doing things like burpees and jumping jacks and all of this stuff, and it's all fine. But if we're going to put the effort in and train, it has to be specific to the competition requirements of your sport. And this is where we see things go wrong whenever we look at like people doing 6 dances back to back, 7 dances back to back, 8 dances back to back, is that we're just throwing more and more and more and more in the hope that it works, right? So first of all, if you understand what fitness is, then and what type of fitness you need for a dancer, then we can become more specific. The biggest problem I see with Irish dancing is that volume is the answer to everything. So coming into a competition, you guys are doing more work, okay? And you guys are doing more of everything instead of starting to do less. Your competition requirements on stage ask you to do what? So I'm going to ask someone, just because you're there. What's your name? Claire. Okay, Claire. What does your competition ask you to do? So for example, I'll make it easier for you. If I'm a boxer, I know that I have to box potentially up to 12 rounds, okay? And they're going to be a certain amount of minutes per round, right? So as an Irish dancer, what is your competition requirements? What do you need to be great at? Yeah, but like let's think about it in terms of time and so on. So how long are you going to be on stage for? Okay, so around 2 minutes, right? And then what happens after that? You're finished, or you get a break until what? Your next round, and then you go again. How long is the break roughly? I know it can vary a lot, but let's try to put it in perspective. How long the break do you get? Okay, in this instance, 1 hour, right? So I know, okay, if I want to be super, super good at fitness, I know that I need to be amazing for 2 minutes, and then I need to have a break. I need to have a break for 1 hour. So I need to tailor my training around that requirement, okay? Now let's have a look at what we're doing in those 2 minutes. What does it involve? So let's start shouting things out. What do you need to do in those 2 minutes? Not from a turnout and so on. Think about fitness related only. So what's the requirements? If you look at a marathon runner, they're slow, they're robotic, and they're kind of in a pattern, right?
High energy.
Okay, so the energy has to be high, fast, explosive power. Are we going in one direction or are we going in multiple directions, right? We're going in multiple directions. We have to cover like a 15, 20 meter space. Okay, so I know, and the reason why I'm telling this is because before I trained Lauren, I had never trained an Irish dancer before, okay? I never even knew the sport. So when I go into the sport, the first thing I'm looking at is what do you need for this sport? So you know you need to be sharp, powerful, fast, aggressive. You need to be able to turn, you need to be able to jump high, and you need to be able to maintain that for 2 minutes. It's not you need to be able to maintain for 2 minutes, you need to be able to maintain that for 2 minutes, okay? So first of all, that means you need to be able to do it. So the question is, can you be sharp and powerful? Not even for 2 minutes, just can you be sharp and powerful first, okay? That is the first thing. Then it becomes, can you be sharp and powerful and maintain it for 2 minutes, okay? So that's the requirements of your sport, okay? So we need to make sure that our training that we're teaching you is relevant to that. So when people are talking about stamina, and they really need stamina, it's 2 minutes of stamina, right? Stamina versus a marathon runner, which needs stamina, which is hours, okay? So when we're saying we need to improve our stamina, what we're really saying is you need to improve your speed endurance because there's a speed element of it. In stamina, there's no real speed. Okay, it's just your ability to keep going. But what you need as a dancer, you need to start off with a lot of high-paced energy, and you need to keep that going for 2 minutes. So we need to improve your speed endurance, which means you first of all have to have the speed, okay? And then you need the speed to endure that 2 minutes. So what I'm trying to get at here is there's a few different types of dancers, and I want you to start thinking about which one you are. There's a type of dancer that will do so much practice that everything is very robotic, okay? Their technique is perfect, but they could last forever. They could dance for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but it is such a robotic pace that it doesn't really matter, okay? And they'll be the ones that will be at home doing 2-3 hours of practice all the time. And actually when they step on stage, they're left behind, right? They step on stage beside someone like Lauren, they're blown away. But they can continue on. Or you have the types of dancers that, like I said, or they just don't have the basic technique and they're all over the place, or you have the types of dancers that are fast and explosive, but they die off, okay? So start thinking about what it is that you are and start writing it down for me. I think you love playing with them lights, don't you?
Sorry,
Was it on? Huh? Okay. There's not much information on these anyway. Which brings me to this, okay? So what separates? Okay, so if I'm going to go in and I'm going to start dancing today, right? And someone's going to teach me how to dance, which would be terrible. What I would be learning how to become a good dancer, okay? So I would be a basic dancer, and a beginner dancer, and I'm trying to become good. So from beginner to good, it's all about technique, right? You need to learn how to do your sport requirements. So whenever I start day one, week one in class, I'm not going to care about high speed, high performance, how high I can get off the ground and all that stuff. I just care about can I actually dance. It's the technical aspect of it, right? It's like learning how to ride a bike. You don't care how fast you can go, you don't care how long you can go, you just care can you actually do the pattern required. So from becoming a beginner dancer to a good dancer is all about technique, okay? Everyone will have a basic level of fitness and you just need to get that technique right and complete a full dance of technical ability. After that, what separates a good dancer from a champion dancer? So if you look at someone that comes 20th or 25th in the world versus someone that comes in the top 3, what are the differences? Yep. These 3.
Just power, explosive power.
Explosive power. Anything else? What you'll find is that in the top group of dancers, everybody can already dance. Okay? Everybody can already dance. Unless they make a mistake, like an error for some reason, or they fall or something, everybody in that top group can already dance. They all have the technical ability nailed down. So what separates a good dancer from a champion dancer, someone that's going to come 20th in competitions versus someone that's going to come first, second, or third, is the speed, the sharpness, the parts, the execution of movements. It's what Lauren is constantly preaching about on social media. It's how you do the movement. You can already do it, but how do you make it bigger? How do you make it sharper? How do you cover more distance? How do you make it stand out much more so that the pretty dancer beside you who is doing everything technically perfect but they're not getting anywhere is going to be overshadowed completely, okay? This is where the fitness comes in. So when all you guys are training your technique and we're doing 6, 7, or 8 dances back to back, you're sacrificing a huge amount of quality. If I'm given one of something to do, I can put 100% effort into that. If you give me 8 of something to do, what are you going to do? You're going to start off slower, right? Because you've got to last for a longer period of time. So straight away, your mind is in a different place than what it's going to be on stage. So you're in class 2-3 weeks before competition, you're doing 8-9 dances back to back. So if in that point you're thinking, okay, I've got such a long way to go. Now, when you step on stage, you're not thinking that. You're thinking, I've got one to do and I need to go start as fast and explosive as I can. You're beside other people and they're going to need to go faster and more explosive. And so you fatigue quicker because you're not used to that intensity, right? What happens then is you fatigue, you come off stage and you're told you don't have enough stamina. So you go away and we start doing more dances back to back, more dances back to back. It's not the problem. The problem is you don't know how to sustain a high level of intensity. And 8 or 9 dances back to back are not going to give you that. What are we doing here? We're doing 8 or 9 dances back to back. We're talking like 10 minutes of work, okay? So the only real reason why we would do something like that is to improve your fitness. It's not going to be to improve your dance technique, because your dance technique is going to be terrible after about 2 of those, after one of them actually, if you do it right. So what are we doing? What benefits are we getting in dance 3, 4, 5, or 6 is simply going to be down from stamina, but you're picking up slopping technique at the same time, okay? So you have to remember, in one dance on stage, you're in release mode, which means you can give everything you've got. Like a 100-meter sprinter on a line, he doesn't care what's happening after because he gets a long break. But someone that has a lot of something to do, like a marathoner, is going to start off slower. They're going to be more conservative about their energy so they can last for longer. So straight away we're training different muscle fibers, fast twitch, slow twitch. Straight away you're thinking differently than what you're going to think on stage. Your technique is sloppy, you're picking up bad technique, you're more likely to get injured, and so on and so on. Okay? So when we look at how do we make all of you turn from a good dancer to a champion dancer, it's all about the execution and the speed and the sharpness and the power, and getting that first and then maintaining that. Okay? So that brings me on to this. How many of you as dancers would like to be faster, sharper, more powerful, more explosive? Put your hands up. Okay, cool. When was the last time? Do you have your hand up? You did. Yeah, I think you did. Okay. So when was the last time you worked on your speed and sharpness? Exactly. Who else had their hand up? Non-academy dancers, because that's not preferred, because that's obviously what we teach. So if you're on the academy, you can't answer this question. Okay, so those of you who've had your hands up, think about it. You're asking me, you want to be faster and sharper. When was the last time you worked on that? How many classes do you have per week?
3.
Okay, 3. Who has 4, 5, or 6 classes per week? Okay, out of those classes, how many of those, I'm not saying it has to be this way by the way, but I'm just trying to dig for a little bit more information. So those of you that want to improve your speed and sharpness and dance 4, 5, or 6 days per week, how much of that time is spent on improving your speed and sharpness? Exactly, right? So when you break this down, you know what you need to work on, but you're not working on it. Okay? Because what we're doing all the time is thinking about stamina, fitness, how to last for longer. Tomorrow when Lauren does her dancing with you, it's all going to be about speed and sharpness. You're not going to be dancing for longer than 10 or 15 seconds, and you want to be moving as fast, as sharp, as powerful as you can. You're going to be doing 10 or 15 second drills where you're looking at how powerful and sharp you can be across a stage-sized distance, and then you're going to get a break. Because when you come back, you want to be sharp enough, you want to be rested enough to do it again with the same amount of intensity. Okay? Okay. So This is where we look at the volume of training. So people are dancing 4, 5, 6 days per week. How many of you would like to perform 10 times better than what you're already doing right now? Okay. Hands down. What do people normally do when they want to be better at something? So if you're dancing 3 days a week and you want to be better, what normally happens? You add in another day. So we start dancing 4 days. And then what happens? We start dancing 5 days, 6 days, we start practicing at home. So all of a sudden we're massively increasing the amount that we're doing. So if you come to me, you're already dancing 5 or 6 days per week, how am I meant to make you 10 times better? Because I can't make you train 10 times more, right? So you have to start thinking, how can we be better without training more? So we look at the quality of the work we're already doing. If I'm training 3 days per week at 100% intensity, and when intensity I mean speed and sharpness of bar, if I'm training 100% intensity on those 3 days, and I then move to 4, 5, and 6 days, everything else gets diluted, okay? And we end up doing the same thing. Out of someone that dances 6 days per week, I can guarantee at least 3 or 4 of those days are exactly the same thing. And then when they're practicing at home, it's exactly the same thing also. Okay? So it's repetition. So when we say you want to move from a good dancer to a champion dancer, you want to be faster, sharper, more powerful, but nobody is working on any speed, sharpness, or power. Okay? So we're going to try to give you the tools to do that over the next 2 or 3 days, and you're going to need to find somewhere where you can implement this into your training. Okay? Okay, so we're going to go into a little bit more detail, and this is the most detail we're going to go into. Can you just try and zoom out on that a little bit? Okay. Without going into depth of detail, this is so important that you know this, right? There's different energy systems in the body, and when we go through the 3 sessions later, you're going to see what I mean and how this will feel. But like we said earlier, a marathon runner and a sprinter. So you have the aerobic system, and you have the anaerobic system. Aerobic system is oxygen is present. It's generally used for longer distance sports. There's not really any powerful jumps or explosive movements, and you're more likely to use your slow twitch muscle fibers. Think of Paul Radcliffe, right? Very robotic. It's a very robotic movement all the time. Anaerobic movements, there's no oxygen present because you're moving so fast, which means your body is going to fatigue very quickly. You're going to build up lactic acid, and you're going to die off. Okay, you use your fast-twitch muscle fibers, and they're only meant to be used for a short period of time with high intensity. And there's versus speed, acceleration, power, rotation, all of these skills. So if I'm looking at Irish dancing, I can start relating whereabouts this is going to fall. Now, your aerobic system and anaerobic system. Anaerobic is anything from 0 to 2 minutes, okay, roughly. It's going to change depending on how fit you are, but 0 to 2 minutes. Aerobic is anything over 2 minutes, and the further we go over 2 minutes, the more aerobic it's going to be, leading right into a marathon runner. If we look at the sports that use these different things, and we look at the examples, a marathon runner is going to be 90% an aerobic sport, 10% an anaerobic sport. That 10% is simply probably the start, where they're racing to get into a good position, and the sprint finish at the end. After that, they have to be aerobic. It has to be aerobic because it can travel for a long period of time if it's fast. If you look at a 400 or 800 meter runner, it's 80% anaerobic and 20% aerobic. And then a 100 meter runner is the opposite of a marathon runner, 10% aerobic, 90% anaerobic. So if I'm a dancer or a sprinter or whatever, I need to know, okay, where's my main focus going to be? And it's going to fall in that middle category, okay? So that middle category, 400, 800 meters, is all about speed endurance. You have to have the speed, but you have to maintain it for a long period of time. After that time, it's just endurance, right? We know 1,500 meter races, 2 mile, 3 mile races are all endurance. There's no speed. When we look at 400, 800 meters, they're the hardest events in track and field because they require you to start extremely fast, but you have to maintain that. And your body does not want to maintain that, okay? You have a very limited fuel supply, and you're going to fatigue. You're going to feel sick, your legs are going to feel heavy, you're going to throw up. But if you don't train that, it's never going to get better. So if we're doing 8 or 9 dances back to back, we're training for 10 or 15 minute blocks at a time, you're never going to be training this middle system where we can actually get better. So what happens is, it becomes clear that if you spend 100% of your time training your aerobic system, it's only going to be able to benefit your performance by about 20%. Okay? However, if you spend 100% of your time training your anaerobic system, it can benefit your performance by up to 80%. So we know the answer is not always adding in more and more and more, because by adding in more, you're training your aerobic system, which means you're only ever going to benefit a small percentage of your competition requirements. You can still be fit, but it's not going to transfer across in the stage, okay? When you're a competitive athlete, you're not trying to be generally fit. You're trying to nail exactly what your competition asks of you. So you must understand that the more of something you do, the less quality there's going to be. So if you want to work on your stamina, you have to understand your dance technique is going to suffer. So if you're a dancer that's struggling with dance technique already, and you're not getting those basic movements, I'm not going to have you do something that requires you to do a lot of movements back to back, because you can't get the basic technique when you're focusing on it without being fatigued. How are you going to get the basic technique when you're fatigued going through 8 minutes of dancing? It's not going to be there. You don't have the ability when you're trying to fresh it, so why would we do that? Similarly, if we want to do something faster and sharper, the volume must go down. You must be given breaks in between to allow you to come back and do something faster. Okay, if I tell you to sprint as fast as you can, and you're only sprinting 100 meters, and as you're coming up to the 100 meter mark, I start moving back. And I keep moving back. I keep moving the line back, back, back. At some point, you're going to slow down, right? So if I can tell you to start and that line is already back, you're going to start slower. So you have to understand the same thing applies to dancing. Even though people feel dancing is a performance and all that stuff, and it is, but you must treat it like it's a competitive sport, which means you have certain requirements and you must follow. Okay? And this is just an example of a marathon runner versus a sprinter. They're both extreme. We're going to call it somewhere in the middle. But you have to remember that as a marathoner, or as someone who's doing a lot of endurance work, your body wants to turn those fast twitch muscle fibers into slow twitch muscle fibers so that you can last for a longer period of time. Okay, it wants to be efficient in everything that you do. If you're a sprinter, it's going to be completely different. You have to be that powerful, sharp, athletic build. And the thing is, when we come into Irish dance and we start teaching this sort of stuff, half of the Irish dance board love it, half of the Irish dance board are going to frown upon it. Because they're right, nobody needs to do this until one person does it, right? And then everybody slowly needs to do it. So they either embrace it and go with it, or they don't. But the thing is, years ago, no one ever done any weight training, no one ever done any strength training, right? Now all we see is more and more people that are actually, everyone is stronger than what they were 20, 30 years ago, just in general. So this means your movements, some people are going to do these movements more powerful and sharp, which means those that are left behind are going to start asking questions. Well, how do I do that? Okay? When someone like Lauren comes in and is so sharp and powerful, people are like, how do I do that? And they're trying to do more and more and more and more dancing, and it's not working. So it's just how it's going to be, and the quicker we understand it, the quicker we can apply it to ourselves, and the quicker everybody benefits from it. So if we look at kind of the individuality of Irish dancing, right? If I have a class of 100 people, so I can say this because I'm not connected to the Irish dancing sport, I'm never going to be a teacher, I'm never going to be a judge, and it doesn't matter. When I went to a school, I can, like when we go to workshops, or if I was to do a new workshop for a new school, we're always paraded in front of the dancers that are the best dancers. I'm always scanning the room for everyone else to see what everybody else is doing. Because you have the dancers in the corner that are the really good ones, and then you have the dancers that are not so great, and you have the dancers that are injured, okay? And what happens is, I'm always looking at the numbers. So if I have a school of 100 people, if I have a school of 25 people, and I have one really good dancer, it's kind of the same as having a school of 100 people and having 4 good dancers, or 5 good dancers, right? It's nothing really different, you just multiply the numbers. So if I have a school of 100 people, and 5 to 10 of those people are getting really good results, right? That means that you're really only getting results with 1 out of 10 people. If I'm a coach and I have 100 clients and I only get 5 to 10% of results, it's not really a good thing, is it? And when I say results, not everybody has to win, but everybody has to be improving at something, okay? So the law of averages is simply, the more people I have, the more likely my training is going to work for someone. So if I have a certain training style, and I have a class of 25, it may only work for 1 or 2 people. If I have a class of 100 or 200, it's going to work for more people by default, because it has to work for someone, okay? But what about everybody else? It's such an individual thing that when you come to competition time, some of you need to work on speed and sharpness. Your stamina is fine. Some of you need to work on stamina. Your speed and sharpness is fine. Some of you don't even have the basic technique yet, and you need to be working on that, because your speed and sharpness is never going to show unless you have that covered off. But everybody's doing exactly the same thing, okay? That will probably not change, but what we can change is what you do outside of that, which will give you a chance of improving what you need to do as an individual and not what the group is doing. And your chances of success are going to improve massively, okay? It's just simply a law where you need to start rooting things out. There's probably, what, thousands of Irish dance schools in Ireland. And here, there's probably like 70 people in Camp 1 and 70 people in Camp 2. So out of those thousands of schools and thousands of dancers, there's 140 people that have decided that they want to become better. So you're already improving your chances. Now what you need to do is you need to listen. We apply this knowledge to yourself. Now you've proved yourself in the top 5 or 10% of people, and then you just got to repeat that every day. Okay? And you massively improve your chances of success just by being in this room, just by doing things to help you learn, and then applying them to yourself every day. Okay? So, let's have a look at, I'm just doing this. Okay, I just want to start having a look at your weakest areas. So we have 2 days, and if we can give you anything to take away, it's going to be how do we fix your weakest area. Because we all like training what we're good at, okay? Because it makes you feel better, you're better at it, more endorphins are released. If I give you something you don't like, you're going to shy away from it unless you're forced to do it. So the best thing that we can do is go, okay, if you come to me and you say, I'm dancing in 10 weeks' time, how would we train? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, well, what's your weakest area? So I want you all to think right now, what is your weakest area in terms of fitness? And then tomorrow, Lauren will go through what your weakest area is in terms of dance, okay? So think about it. It's not going to be, your weakest area could be technique, it could be turnout or whatever, but try and think about a fitness-related weakness, okay? Is it your posture, in which case you need to improve your strength? Is it your ability to get off the ground? Is it your ability to just be powerful and sharp in general? Is it your ability to last for a long period of time? Find what your weakest area is. You've all competed recently. What was your feedback? Find your weakest area. I'm going to start calling some of them out. I'm going to start seeing how we would go about fixing these things. Okay? Because if you can fix your weakest area, it's going to improve your performance so much more than spending 6 days a week working on your strength, which may improve 1 or 2%. If I can fix your weakest area, it may improve performance by 20 or 30%. Okay? So weakest areas, boys. Talk to me. Speed and sharpness. Okay. So we have 2 things. Speed, sharp. One, and then we're just going to say lift or height. Okay. Anything else? Call a few out for me.
These are definitely the shy script of has
No, come on.
Think about, because we normally do this, and then by the end of the workshop we have like a million questions. So you may as well just think about, what do you think is putting your marks down? Like, are you getting off the floor? Is your back leg working extremely hard? What about extension, straight knees?
I think your best thing is to know what your weaknesses are.
So number 1.
It's surprising me so much how much people don't really know what their competition requirements are, and they don't really know what their weakest areas are. So really what you're doing is you're prepared to turn up to class 5 or 6 days per week. You're prepared to put in the work. Like, you're massively disadvantaging yourselves by not thinking about yourself. You're so used to this whole group environment where everybody in the class is kind of doing the same thing, that you're not thinking about yourself. So think about yourself. Okay, who are you as a dancer compared to other dancers? What do you need to work on? Southampton girls, was it Southampton?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your weakest area?
keeping the strength throughout the whole dance.
Okay, so you have the strength and power, you just need to maintain it, right? Which is different from getting it in the first place. So we're going to say speed, strength, endurance. Speed, endurance, strength, endurance. Anything else?
Posture.
Yeah, posture, whose upper body's moving.
Stability.
Stability, okay, so stability in what sense?
In line, like angles for release of landing and jumps.
Okay, this is a good one. So, what was the other one first, sorry, and then we'll go back. Yep.
Posture.
Posture, sorry, yes. Okay, posture, and we'll just for this we'll just talk about everything upper body. There's so many different pieces, but you'll find that they'll all connect. So, okay, so let's look at stability. Stability is something that you should have built as a foundation level dancer. When you're learning technique, okay, actually I need to write injuries in there. Injuries, who hands up, who's been injured, at least once. That's kept you out of dance for a period of time, okay? Yeah, hands up, who's had the same injury a second time. Okay. So we'll cover injuries in a second, but that could be a weakness. Obviously, there's something wrong that's weak and you're getting injured, so that is a weakness area. If we look at stability, you cannot fire a cannon from a canoe. So this girl is having issues with landing and stabilizing, which means that if imagine traveling down a hill on a skateboard fast, what happens at some point when you go too fast? It starts getting wobbly, right? So you're moving too quickly for what you can stabilize. Okay. So what happens there is we need to build a solid foundation. It's like trying to fire a cannon from a canoe, right? You've heard us saying you can't fire a cannon from a canoe. It's like putting something extremely explosive on something that is unstable. It's going to go, but it's going to go all over the place, okay? Because it's not structurally stable. But all you guys are still growing in height, which in a minute when we go through the practical work, if you have a building and you make it taller, but you don't do anything to the foundation, it's going to become more unstable. So the taller you guys get, the more unstable you're going to be. So as a dancer, first and foremost, when you're in class, if I'm a beginner dancer, and I'm still growing in height, the first thing you should be doing when you're learning your technique is understanding that in 6 months' time, I'm going to be doing this technique at full speed. So whilst you're walking through your technique and you're learning, this is something really important for teachers to pick up on. Whilst you're learning your technique, you also got to be doing things that are sharp, stability work, because when I know that this technique, I'm going to do it at full speed. So what I've prepared myself for is just the technique. I haven't prepared myself for the impact that's about to come when I can do it fast. So I should be doing some sort of plyometrics, some ankle stability work, all of that stuff, at the same time as I'm doing my dance technique work, so that when I know how to do it good, my joints are already prepared for what's about to come. But that's not happening, okay? It's missing. We spend so much time practicing basic technique that when we can actually do it, we start moving faster, and the joints aren't prepared for that. That's one issue. The other issue is that, let's say that was done correctly, but then you start growing. Now you have stability issues too, okay? So stability is key. If you're not stable, your body will not let you maximize your speed. So for example, I could teach you to jump like a kangaroo, super, super high. But if your body isn't strong enough to stabilize that landing, it will reduce how much effort it will give. For example, if there's a puddle, you'll be confident to jump over it. If I start moving that puddle deeper into a stream, you might give it a go. At some point, however, you're going to go, I don't think I can do that. Right? Because your body is smart, your body knows how strong you are. Okay, it knows that that's going to be too much for me. So it's the same thing. If you're strong enough to jump higher and move fast, but you're not stable enough to support it, your body won't let you do it. It doesn't care about being an Irish dancer, it just cares about protecting itself from injury. Okay? So stability is one, speed and sharpness is another, speed endurance is another. So here's how it needs to go. You need to be stable first. Then you need to develop your ability to just move fast. And then you need to develop your ability to keep that speed to the end. If you do that in the wrong order, then things aren't going to work. Like, let's say for example, Chloe is a really good technique. Give me someone who thinks they're a really good technique dancer. They're pretty, they do lots of home practice, they're like pretty good, but they're struggling to get off the ground with speed and sharpness. There's going to be a couple. Okay, a couple. So, just trying to think about the best way to explain this. Okay, so if you take one of these dancers, it's like, imagine taking a marathon runner and making them run 100 meters. Okay, they're not going to find it difficult, because they don't understand how to move quick from the start. By the time you get a marathon runner to run 100 meters, they're only getting any decent speed at about 80 meters, because they're so robotic and so slow, okay? They are not trained to move explosively from the start. So in a dancer in this position, you need to spend time reducing all of your volume, because you can already do that, and you need to spend time working on that acceleration. So I would get you on a hill, and I would say you're not moving off this hill until we actually learn how to accelerate fast. And the benefit of hill training or incline treadmill work is that you can never reach top speed. You're always trying to accelerate, because you're never going to get to that point where it levels off. Okay, so you just need to learn how to accelerate quicker. So if a marathon runner comes to me and suddenly they want to be a sprinter, it's not going to happen. But in your instance, it is. You're more of a techniques, longer distance dancer, and you're trying to become more powerful and sharp. It means you need to spend some time doing some acceleration work until you can get speed into your legs. And then you transfer that into your dance technique. Okay? So we'll go through these, but these are obviously the weakest areas. Getting height off the ground. So if someone wants to get height off the ground, they've got two things they can do. They can get leaner and lighter, which means you improve your part-to-weight ratio. Okay? So if you think about a Formula 1 car, it's extremely fast, but it's also extremely light. So if I want to jump higher or run faster, I can get leaner and reduce my body fat, or if my body fat is fine, I can train to get higher. For example, if I want to get more lift off the ground, I need to be able to produce more force through the floor. The more force I produce down the way, the higher I'm going to come. So if I do movements like very, very simple, when you use this chair, let's say I do a step up, where I'm literally training to step up, or I have weights I'm doing it, or I have a weighted vest that I'm doing, and I'm training a step up movement. That's teaching me to produce more force downwards, so I can lift higher. Okay? Relate your training to what it is that you actually need to do. Right? So if you have issues with getting height off the ground, that's your two options, basically. Okay? Produce more force through the ground, or get a little bit leaner, or both. Posture and upper body is always going to be a strength thing. I'm going to cover that in 1 second, which is going to bring us on to our practical. But if we have a look at injuries first. Hands up who's been injured recently. Okay, what was your injury?
Yeah, I had a broken ankle, but that was not because of dancing, so...
Okay, what happened?
Car accident.
Oh.
Yeah.
You okay? Did you get anything else from it, or just that?
No, just that.
How many broken ankles for various reasons? How many feet problems that you couldn't, like, you were out of dance because of feet issues? Okay, there's always so many. Okay, so what happens when you get injured? This is something really interesting that happens all. When you get injured, what do you think is going to drop off first? So let's say I just break my metatarsal or roll my ankle or break my ankle, whatever, and I can't dance for 12 weeks. You can be in a boot, or not in a boot, it doesn't matter. You can't dance for 12 weeks, right? When you go back after 12 weeks, what do you think, or what do you think is going to be the first thing that you lose in those 12 weeks? So you can either break it into two categories. Are you going to lose your dance technique first, or are you going to lose your fitness first? Fitness. What is the first thing everybody wants to do? They want to get back to dancing straight away. And they want to start that impact again. Okay? When you know how to ride a bike, you will always know how to ride a bike. I'm always saying this, you've probably heard me say it before, but it's so true, and I don't think people grasp this. Lauren didn't dance for years, and then she done a video and put it on YouTube last year maybe, and she was able to dance. Like, you're always, you know how many people don't dance for years and then dance at their wedding? Still dance, okay, things might be a little bit rusty, but you know how to dance. So when you ingrain that motor pattern in your brain, you're always going to know how to dance. What's going to drop quickly is your fitness, because you're not using it. Your body will only keep something if there's a requirement to keep it, otherwise it's a waste of energy every day for nothing. And your body always wants to be efficient. So if your fitness is super, super high and you get injured, You need to find a way to keep that fitness up. And it would be surprise you how many people get injured and then don't do anything until they can get back to dance, and then try to quickly get back to dance. You know how easy it is for all of you guys to find a spin bike and sit on a spin bike and train really hard on a bike. There's no impact. You could stand upright on the bike, which means that it's a very dance-specific position because your body's upright, it's solid, it's stable. You're driving down through the pedals, so your calves are still explosive, your quadriceps are still being explosive, and you can train different energy systems by just extending the time or keeping it short. I can do 2-minute intervals on a spin bike, 2 minutes as fast as I can with a little bit of resistance to make me powerful, and then I can take 5 or 10 minutes off. It's very specific to dancing. Okay, 2 minutes until you feel sick, and then take 5 or 10 minutes off, do it again. Okay, and you can do this with injuries. You can lie on your back, you can do lots of core work. Sometimes in the past, people have get injured, and it's been the best thing that's happened because they're so stuck in this volume attitude where they're training 6 days per week. They get injured because the volume is too much. Okay, so that's why they get injured in the first place. They stop that training. They understand they can do this sort of work. They train 3 days per week, really work on their fitness. They come back a few weeks before competition, they get their technique back, and they've danced better than they've ever danced before. So there's so much that you can do when you're injured. And obviously you need to rehab injury too. So if it's an ankle, you can be doing lots of stuff like standing on pillows and getting the ankle stable, and at the same time, it's never going to happen again, plus you can work on your fitness, okay? Okay, so let's have a look at this, and then we're going to go straight into our practical work. So, cover the intro for body fitness and building solid foundation a little bit. We're going to move into 2 different things: motor skills training and some core work. Okay. That's 2011. We'll do that for an hour and a half or so. Then we're going to get some food, and then the rest of the afternoon we're going to be outside. So, we're going to clear the seats in a second. This is the last thing I'll have to listen to. If I'm trying to teach motor skills, like stability for this girl, or learning new technique, you get new steps, okay? Or you're a beginner dancer and you need to just learn how to dance, or you have like a specific dance issue that you're just not getting. Any of these skills that we're trying to learn, like when we're trying to learn how to ride a bike, for example, you need to do it in a specific way. So if I'm going to learn how to play golf, okay, and I'm going to need to learn how to hit the ball, right? There's a way I can do that. If, let's say, I need to hit 700 golf balls every week to be able to improve my technique, I can do that 1 day per week and hit 700 balls. Or I could do 100 golf balls per day across 7 days, 50 golf balls twice per day, 25 golf balls 4 times per day. But the bottom line is it's still the same amount of golf balls I'm hitting per week. It's still 700, right? Which of those 4 do you think is going to be the most accurate in terms of technique? Anyone? The most accurate. So, do you think if I hit 700 golf balls all at once, that's going to be more accurate than hitting 25 golf balls and then going away, hitting another 25 and going away? It's going to be more accurate, right? So, there's only when you're trying to learn something new, there's only a small window where you can actually get that skill to do that with 100% accuracy. You got about 15 or 20 minutes to focus on that before your body switches off and it just becomes a little bit sloppy. So if I'm trying to learn something new steps, new dance technique or whatever, you have to be able to do it. It has to be the first thing you do when you're most fresh because it requires your nervous system. And you have to do it for a short period of time, but really frequently. Okay? You're going to learn that skill much, much quicker than you are by doing 1 or 2 or 3 hours of repeating the same thing. It just becomes frustrating. It's like trying to study, right? You know at that point where you're studying, where you've just reached it's diminishing returns. You're looking at a page, you're just not picking anything up. You come back in the morning, you're fresh, you will learn so much quicker. So when you're trying to learn something, you need to be fresh and sharp, which means the first 20 minutes of your dance class or your practice at home or whatever should be spent working on a specific skill. Everybody can do this. Lauren used to do this all the time. Any of her training, the first section of her training was working on skill work. Because you can do fitness without thinking about it. You just have to commit to it, work hard. There's no specific thinking required. When it comes to skill work, it needs to be done first. And everybody needs to work on skills at all times. Because if I make you sharper, you need to redo your skills. So the first section of your lesson needs to be working on skills. It can be anything from dance. It can be working on ankle stability. It can be working on anything that requires you to learn a new skill. So for these younger dancers that are still growing, it's a perfect time to work on these sorts of skills or learn new steps. After that, you should be into the main part of the session, which is the main fitness or dance work. And then the session finishes with something that's more structural, like core work or upper body or something, okay? That is how a session should be planned out. And for you as an individual, you need to think about what your weakest areas are, and you need to put them first. And then you can move into something that requires you to think a little bit less. So let's start going through some balance and agility skills. Lauren, stand up a second. So hands up, who has an issue with the upper body? Arms moving. Okay, a lot of you. Okay, good. So let's break it down even further. So you have an issue with the upper body. What is that issue? So is the issue your arms are coming away from your side? Is the issue your shoulders are rotating? Is the issue you're leaning forward or back? Think of those three different things, because they're three different reasons. I don't want to know about like your baby finger happens to twist and like, I don't know why your baby finger's twisted. I'm not even talking about that. But in general, either your arm is moving, or your shoulders, you're rocking, or you're leaning. Okay? I want you all to have a look at your arm walking. So just like how the body is meant to move. And just have a look at what's happening. For anyone that's seen this before, you can say anything. So what can we see when she's walking? Like the pattern of walking, what can we identify about it? Yeah?
She's moving with your opposite leg.
Good girl. Exactly. So watch again. Watch how when one leg steps forward, the opposite arm also goes forward, right? So what happens is the body tries to balance itself, and you're trying to counteract the movement from the leg. So Irish dancing goes against Irish dancing goes against all other sports in that you have to keep your upper body still. Okay? So this is issue number one. The body's not meant to be still when the legs are moving. It's just not. So you have to develop the strength to make your upper body stay still. So even though the upper body is still, it's not switched off, it's not effortless. It's still, but it's working extremely hard to counteract what's happening at the lower part of the body. Walk again, just normally. Okay, so it's unstable. Go again. Now this time you're going to anticipate that I'm going to push you. Solid, okay? So what happens is her upper body is relaxed. She thinks that she doesn't need to use it, and the arms are moving in a normal fashion, and the legs are what's doing the work. So the arms are secondary to what's happening with the leg. The leg moves, the arm moves. The second I go to push her, she instantly braces up, and she can keep that solid. But that requires an effort, right? That's not an easy thing to do. So you need to understand how to brace your upper body and keep it braced. If someone's going to rugby tackle you, you're not going to stay still. You will very quickly learn how to brace up and create a resistance against that. So that's an external resistance. That's if someone's going to tackle you. But you need to start thinking about you're actually need to do it internally too. When your legs are moving, your arm needs to move. Think what the World Cup's just happened, right? What happens every time someone goes to take a free kick? So here's the ball. I'm going to kick with my left leg, and my right arm goes out, right? I'm counteracting what's happening here. If I didn't do that when I kick the ball like this, my balance is going to be off. I'm not going to kick the ball properly. I'm going to have to lean more to counteract this. If I'm a boxer and I go to throw a punch, okay, I'm counteracting it with the opposite side of my body. Because if I didn't, I would just spin, right? So all of you with upper body moving, when you lean forward, it's because your leg is so powerful, it's coming up, and if you weren't able to counteract that by bracing tight, you're going to go backwards. So you lean into it. It counteracts the power coming this way to go that way. So we know that you've got a weakness in the upper body and you're not able to brace, which means your body moves. And so it's a good thing. It's a good thing because if you didn't do that, you would fall, and your balance would be off, and your dancing would be worse. But we need to get you from that to something like this, whereby you understand how to brace up.
You guys have for me and Robert? About anything? Yes?
How old were you when you won your first Worlds?
I think it was under 15. Anybody else? Nope.
It's impossible. Everybody does.
I know, because this
It's every
happens.
year.
Tomorrow,
And
there's going to be
tomorrow
10
we'll be here
people.
to 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Answering.
Think about anything.
I'm going to start asking people to ask a question, so think of one.
What age did you stop dancing?
21.
How long were you dancing for?
Back 21. Just over 10 years. Yep. Right, what about you guys? Let's talk about you guys. Right? Think about your goals. How can we help you? Is there anything we can... Yes?
You know the dancing rules we just did?
Huh?
Dancing rules we just did?
Yeah.
That was like for substitute for sprinting, so would you recommend doing that more than sprinting, or like...
No, normally
You always have to think about, like someone asked a question about skipping earlier as well, and you always have to think about impact. So if you're going to be adding in more work, we always want to try and limit impact as much as possible. You guys already have so much impact in your dancing every day that we're trying to limit it. If I'm going to add something in, I want it to be the opposite of what you do, not more of the same. So like skipping is great, this is great, but I would try and add this in an actual dance class rather than add it in outside of class, because we have more impact. Skipping is a great movement for dancers, but you got to manage it properly. Like it can also be the worst thing in the world for dancers, because you already have so much impact. So if I'm skipping all the time, what's that doing? I'm dancing 3-4 days per week, and then I'm skipping the other 2-3 days. There's impact every single day. Yeah. So there's no recovery in the joints. So these sessions are great, but they have to be managed properly. Otherwise, because you see what happens, we're only doing 20 seconds here, but also what happens is you start picking up sloppy form, which is something that we didn't really talk about earlier. But like earlier when I was talking about the more you do something, the less intense it becomes. But you also don't want to be teaching yourself bad habits, because your body will always remember those bad habits. So when you're coming into competition, that's why I'm saying that you need to have long rest periods between everything that you do, because you don't want to be sacrificing the quality. If I'm doing 6 or 7 dances back to back, by number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm way off, right? Like front kicks are down here. Everything is so minimized, and that's not how it's going to be on stage. You're just teaching yourself sloppy form all the time. So this would be replaced one of those sprint sessions, but if you can do this in class and not as an alternate, as an addition to, and just keep the impact down.
Anyone else?
You had a question?
Keep on tips for not being stiff, you know.
What do you mean stiff? Like tight muscles, or?
It's like stiff, like you don't need much movement, you know.
There's 2 reasons why that's going to happen. One reason is you're just flexible. I mean, you're not flexible. Like you're literally stiff. Like I try to move your leg, there's just no movement in you at all. And the other reason is that you're trying to brace up too tight. You don't understand how to brace the body and flow with it. That you're just holding everything. You know, and you're physically creating that stiffness as opposed to the stiffness already being there. So you got to ask yourself, is the stiffness there when you're at rest? Like when you're not on stage, are you stiff? Like if I check the flexibility, are you stiff? Okay, so if you're stiff at rest and stiff on stage, then it's just because of your flexibility. If your generally flexibility is okay, but then you're super stiff on stage, it's a panic thing. You're just you're trying to brace, but you don't really know how to brace properly, so you're tightening everything up.
Do you move? Do you stand?
Yeah, no, I move like this on stage, or just
Yeah, and then it would be.
Like tomorrow we can ask that question again after we've done the whole dance
And
day.
especially when we do the dance day, and then I can see how your extension is, because we do specific movements, breakdown movements, so I'm trying to, you know, go through what everybody would have in a step, like extension, front clicks we all have cuts, so I'm trying to do it overall mass terms, everybody can go through it, so I think it'll be better then. I
And
can
if we
see
can
it.
visually see it, we'll probably know
That'll
that.
be good. Yep.
How do you get up higher on your toes?
Good question. Stand up. Okay, so getting higher on toes to come over. So this is one thing that people don't really understand a lot about. If I want to get higher on my toes, so hold on to me. Okay, and go up on your toes. Okay, so when she comes up on her toes, everything else comes up with her, right? And I let your hips drop. Exactly. And then raise your hips up. Let your hips drop. So the point of this is that getting higher on your toes actually comes from the hips. So pick up the hips, drop the hips. So it goes back to the core and the strength around the hips and the stability. If you're not strong around your hips, the second they drop, everything else drops. Like when we were doing the warm-up exercise earlier where we're getting you to touch your foot, remember, in the back, every time your front leg goes up, the back leg keeps sinking. Every time those hips sink, the heel drops. So if the hips sink, the knees drop, the heels drop, you're flat. Okay? And vice versa. So if you want to get higher on your toes, everything above, upwards in the chain needs to be stronger to be higher. Okay, so you need to be dancing across the ground, not through the ground all the time. If you're landing heavy, if you're flat feet, then you've got too much force going down and you're not able to keep the carriage high enough. So it comes from picking all of this up, which all comes from the hips. Okay,
And
so
we
it's
have
core work.
great videos, Kayla, as well, on YouTube. And then tomorrow, once we do dance specific, if there's big things that I see, like people's heels dropping or bending knees or whatever, we can dig deep on that then tomorrow as well. That was a really good question.
That all comes from the hips. You got to lift
You've
that
got it.
all up. Okay.
Any tips for how to keep your arms in while you're dancing?
Yes, everything we've done this morning. Like.
All the upper, no, the upper
Remember
stuff.
all of this stuff? The arms in by your side.
Once that's nailed, this all relaxes. You
Yep.
can keep it.
And then we're doing part 2 of that tomorrow. But get your upper body strong. Like all of that stuff we're doing with the arms, the water bottles that Lauren was doing, it's going to keep your upper body still for you. It's just the upper body's going to be, it's not that everyone's upper body is bad, it's just your lower body is constantly getting stronger and your upper body's being left behind. So your stronger muscles are getting stronger, your weaker muscles are therefore getting weaker, and this with just imbalances. So you just got to strengthen that up a wee bit. Yeah?
Is it better doing one dance or another dance?
Good question. So let's think about that. So is it better doing one dance than a load of dances? It depends on the goal. If you're far away from competition and you just want to get fit, then a load of dances is okay because you're trying to just improve your general fitness. But if you're going to be dancing on stage next week, what are you going to be doing on stage? Just one? Okay, so we want it to be relevant. If I'm doing 100 meters next week, I'm not going to go out and run 800 meters the week before. I need to keep it relevant to competition.
It depends where you're peaking towards.
You know?
Okay.
And if you're doing loads of dances, if I'm doing loads of dances back to back, the reason for that is to get fit, right? Why would we do loads of dances back to back? So if I say, okay, we're going to do 8 dances back to back today, what would be the purpose of that in class? To get fit, right? To improve your fitness, right? But at what expense? Because the quality of the dancing is going to be poor. So you're either training for dance technique or you're training for dance fitness. And you got to ask yourself which one. So if you're doing multiple dances back to back, you're prioritizing your fitness over your technique because you know your technique is going to be sloppy because you're prioritizing your fitness. So if I'm doing 8 dances back to back, I'm going to be dancing for at least 8 minutes, right? 8 to 9 minutes. Why can I, and if I'm working on my fitness, why can I not run for 8 to 9 minute intervals and not pick up all the sloppy technique that comes with dancing badly for the last 6 minutes? You with me? So we can be a little bit smarter. You can still train your fitness over 8 to 9 minutes, but you can dance over 1 to 2 minutes and keep the technique perfect and not pick up all that sloppy fitness that comes, sloppy technique at the end of it. Yeah?
Do you have any ways or like stretches to prevent injuries or
Yep.
stress fractures?
So tomorrow we're going to go through that. I'm glad you brought that up. Tomorrow, guys, just while you remember, if anybody has any flexibility bands, can you please bring them? I forgot to add it in.
Flexibility bands.
I forgot to add it in the initial email. It's my fault. We were going to include that today. So there should have been a flexibility section today, but we'll do that tomorrow. If you have a flexibility resistance band or any type of band, bring it tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have at least half. I know there's like half of you are already on the academy, so you should all have a band, so at least that way we can pair up, okay? So bring your bands tomorrow, and we'll go through that for you tomorrow, okay?
Pink t-shirt.
Any tips on how to keep your feet out?
Turn out again, hips and glutes.
Tomorrow in the flexibility section we'll cover turnout and knee extension.
You're going to be doing
flicks.
all the rotation, more specific stuff for dances tomorrow.
Yep.
There's a question behind, I think the girl had it.
You probably go over it tomorrow, but how do you get like front clicks higher, like especially when you get tired on stage?
Okay, there's two things there. It's kind of two different.
Speed endurance,
two different
number one.
questions, right?
Yeah.
How do you get front clicks higher, just as a technique issue, and then how do you keep them higher when you get tired on stage?
Yeah.
There's two separate things. So first of all, can you get them to the right point? You just can't keep them there as you get tired.
Yeah.
Okay.
have the strength
So
to
that's
hold
more of
down
a
the end.
fitness thing, right? If you can do the technique, but you can't maintain it, that's just down to fitness and strength. If you can't do the technique at all, it's down to technical issues like flexibility and restrictions that you have. So again, when you have something like a turnout or a knee extension or one of these dance issues, you got to establish, can you do it first but you're fatiguing, or can you not even do it at all? And there's two different methods. So if it's just that, it's down to strength and fitness. If it's not, then it's technique, which will fall tomorrow, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is sprinting alone good enough to increase zoom across the stage, or does that
Speed work.
would core exercises add to that?
Sprinting is a linear movement, so even sprinting alone wouldn't be good enough because we're moving in a straight line when we're sprinting. Dancing's a multi-directional sport, so we have to have movements that go side to side, backwards. There has to be a rotation element in it. So sprinting is good in the sense that it trains the fast twitch muscle fibers, but it's not always in the right direction that we need to go. Core will help massively because it holds you still, which will allow you to transfer your energy further. But sprinting alone isn't even great. Tomorrow, Lauren will show you how to take this sprinting that we've done today and put it into multi-directional drills, which will be perfect for that. It's kind of like taking the fitness and now we move it into actual dance-specific movements, which we'll do tomorrow.
I'm going to
Shootouts
turn
to
them in
different
different
cones and
directions.
stuff.
Your shoulders and hips might be front, maybe going this way, then the whole body might be going this way.
So yeah, you need to do that. Yeah.
After coming off an injury, is there like any way not to go back to help them have pain, but like
I think I understand your question. Let's talk about coming off injuries. That's a really good point. Okay, hands up who's been injured.
Wow.
Okay, hands up if you had to take a break because you've been injured, like it was. Okay, hands up who's had the same injury twice. Okay. So, when you're coming back from injury, the first thing everybody wants to do is get back into dancing quickly, right? Because you feel like you're missing out. You feel like you're obviously you're going to lose your technique and so on and so on. But you got to remember what I said earlier. When you know how to ride a bike, you're always going to know how to ride a bike. Lauren didn't dance for 4 or 5 years, and she danced. She remembered the technique perfectly. Okay, what's going to suffer is not the technique. What's going to suffer is the dance fitness. Okay, so let's say, for example, give me one of the injuries someone had. Okay, broken metatarsal. Perfect. So, what'd you get, Danielle? Okay, Danielle broke her metatarsal, a bone in her foot. And how long were you out for? 6 weeks. Okay. So she's out for 6 weeks. What do you think across that 6 weeks is the first thing that she's going to start dropping off?
her fitness, because she won't be dancing after.
Exactly. So there's going to be two things you got to look at. If I get injured, what am I going to lose first? I'm going to lose the fitness first. I'm not going to lose the dance technique. Why? Because the dance technique is a motor skill. When you learn how to walk, you break your leg, but you'll learn how to walk again. It's a motor skill in your mind. But you will forget the fitness, right? If I ride a bike every day and I stop, When I get back on the bike, I might not be able to go as fast or as long, but I'm still going to know how to do the movement, okay? So when you're injured for that 6-week period, as soon as Danielle comes back, her priority isn't to get back to dancing. Her priority is, when can I start doing some fitness work? Think about it. Danielle is going to be able to do fitness work before she's going to be able to do dance work, because Danielle has a broken metatarsal on her foot, which means that she might not be able to dance for 6 weeks, but after 3 weeks, she can probably sit on a bike and cycle. There's no impact. We're going in one direction. So why can't we start doing some cycling work? She's still going to train her heart or lungs or quads or calves, but she's not actually dancing. So it's the fitness that you need to get back quicker, and then you can worry about the dance technique as soon as you can go back to dancing. But you're so busy worried about getting back to dancing that you're going to get injured quicker. It's going to happen again because you're not giving the injury proper time to rest, but it doesn't mean you need to rest totally. Okay? Does that help answer your question, or was it a little bit different? Yeah? So if you get injured, it's not the end of the world. Do not panic. You can do a lot of fitness work. The amount of core work Danielle could have done, lying on her back. The amount of strength work on her upper body Danielle could have done. The amount of hamstring strengthening work. There's 360 bones in the body, and she broke one. There's so much work that she could have done. So don't freak out. Just email us, and we'll find a way to make it work. There's so much you can do.